What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of our Oakland Athletics franchise here on MLB The Show 23. We are hopping right into the gameplay of this episode. I want to do a lot with this episode, so I don't want to waste any time. As you can see, we are now 80 and 81. We are at the last game of the season. Simulated some at the end of last episode, and we just kind of took ourselves out of the playoff race at the end. So we're just going to hop into our last game here, as we will get a single from Gleyber Torres here with 2 outs. This is also going to be a little bit of less shown in the game than I typically do, just because, like I said, there's a lot I want to do. Apart from this Angels game, we will be showing a little bit of Double-A playoffs, as well as wrapping up Year 3 in general with some stats, awards, and highlights. Jack Flaherty ends off the first with a strikeout here to keep the score knotted at 0. Using some throwback unis here with some old-time yellow. And Boyce McDermott would strike out, and as would Shea Langoliers looking at that one. So 2 consecutive strikeouts here. Top of the second, bringing up Tyler Soderstrom, who gets a nice hold of this one deep to right field. That one touches down, should be extra bases. He has struggled at the MLB level this year, so nice to see him show up there with a double. Now we got a man in scoring position. Can Ramon Laureano drive him home? Could be his last game as a member of the Oakland Athletics. He strikes out here. Obviously, I would like to bring him back after the year this year, but that he's had, I just don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Luis Rengifo will reach base here, singling to lead off the bottom of the second inning for the Angels. Bring up Anthony Rendon, swings and misses on the full count pitch. That's not Adam. That's Adam Engel, not Anthony Rendon. Now it's Rendon here. He would come up and ground out to third to end the second. It will remain scoreless through 2 in the last game of this season number 3. We've already accomplished our goal for the season. Of course, towards the end, I really wanted to make the playoffs, as Ian Happ will take this one deep. He is another guy who could potentially be a free agent for us next episode. He has a player option for $10 million. I have a feeling he's going to decline that, as he has been really solid now for 3 consecutive years. His last year with the Cubs, and then the 2 years he's been with this team. Probably going to need to give him a raise if we want to keep him beyond this season. Like I said, even though I was towards the end of the season hoping that we would make the playoffs, and we were really in it until the end of last episode, honestly, our goal at the beginning of the season was 75 wins. We have surpassed that. So now we have 2 consecutive seasons where we have met our goal. I think at this point, really fighting for 500 here at the end of the season. I'm looking to make the playoffs here in year 4 as Gleyber Torres gets beamed. So that's going to be my mindset heading into the offseason. You know, I think we have some really solid pieces. Franmil Reyes is going to be the first guy to hit 30 homers for us in a season. That's exactly what we brought him on to do as our DH, was to be a guy that could supply some power that we were missing in our lineup, at least missing to the extent that he has been giving it to us. So Oakland will score 1 on the solo homer from Ian Happ, giving us the 1-0 lead. Now bottom 3-2-2 pitch is in for a strike. Logan Davidson there hitting 9th for the Angels. Of course, started this series with the Athletics. We ended up trading him away. And Lawrence Butler couldn't quite cut that one off. And because of that, the Angels are actually going to score here. And that's going to be an RBI triple for Zach Neto. Lawrence Butler, despite his struggles at the plate, I feel like has always been a really solid fielder for us. That's kind of the first kind of mishap we've had here. Is I think had he been able to corral that, the Angels wouldn't have scored there. Jack Flaherty, next batter, ends up striking him out. Strikes out Mancini as well. And so the score will be knotted up 1 apiece. Top of the 4th, Soderstrom reached with a double last time out. What can he do here? This time it's deep and back and gone, no doubt. Home run for Tyler Soderstrom. And now he is showing us why we should be so excited about him being the catcher of the future for this team. Has not had a great season behind the plate in his first season at the MLB level. He was excellent in spring training, got the immediate call-up, ended up playing a good portion of the year in the minor leagues, got the September call-up, still continued to kind of struggle, but here in the last game of the season, showing us the glimpse of hope that I was really hoping he could. Laureano will get this one past the shortstop and into the outfield. Not playing Mike Trout today for the Angels. I'm sure you've maybe guessed that by now, as we haven't previewed him and we're in the 4th inning. But Lawrence Butler gets a hold of this one into the outfield. That one's going to touch down as well. And Ramon Laureano is going to go to 3rd, and so that will be a double for Lawrence Butler, his 22nd of the year. Now have 2 runners in scoring position for Ian Happ, who homered earlier. This one, he gets out to right field. That one will be caught. We're going to go for the tag here, and both tags will be successful. So sacrifice fly for Ian Happ. Now 2 outs. Bobby Witt up to the plate. Gets some nice contact there, but goes directly to the right fielder, and he will be retired. But we now lead 3-1 over the Angels. Probably a little bit of a generous call. Rengifo understandably frustrated at that strikeout, but I'll take it. It did clip the zone there. Joe Adele, in real life, he is raking at the AAA level this year. Absolutely hitting bombs. But strikeout there will end the 4th for Flaherty. 1 run allowed through 4th. It's been a good outing from him, and really it's been a good outing for him pretty much every time we see him, it feels like. Franmil Reyes will hit this one out to center field with a single there. 1 out acquired on the inning. Shea Langoliers with 2 outs. Hits this one directly to Suarez. Easy out there. And now that'll get us through the 5th. 7 hits to 2 through this point in the game. 0-2 pitch. Logan Davidson back up to the plate. And oh boy, 2nd strikeout of the game. Definitely making me happy that he's on the other side of this game rather than playing shortstop for us. Lawrence Butler, this one is deep and back and caught. That will end the 6th for the offense. We are retired quietly, and the score will remain the same for Flaherty, who just cannot quite find the zone against Neto. He's driven in the only Angels run at this point in the game. Mancini over the glove of Bobby Witt. Butler with the throw to 3rd will hold Neto at 2nd. 1-0 pitch for Adele. 2 outs acquired here. Can we get the 3rd? The force out at 2nd will do just that. And Angels will strand a couple of guys on base. That could have been an inning where they could have knotted this one back up. Ian Happ looks at the fastball high and in. Talking with the ump there, but it was a good call at the end of the day. Just a very well-placed pitch. Torres with 2 outs up to the plate. Gets a nice hold of it, but Logan Davidson is there as the hits, despite being some good contact, was directly at his face. Anthony Rendon gets this just fair along that 3rd base line. Boyce McDermott with a nice throw, though. Don't get to see a nice Boyce McDermott throw that often. It feels like his arm is not the best. Logan O'Hoppe swinging on the slider outside. We retire their catcher. And Logan Davidson for the 3rd straight time striking him out. This is no such revenge game for Logan Davidson. We are rather instead proving why it was a good idea to move on from the man. Full count here for Franmil Reyes. 1 for 3 on the day today. Looks at that pitch outside as Chase Silseth is now in the game for Los Angeles. Shea with a full count pitch. Second one straight of the type. Both will lead to walks. And that'll bring up Tyler Soderstrom, who's been excellent today. 2 for 3. Can he add a third hit? This one's deep to center field. Lifted, back, and gone. It's a multi-home run game for Tyler Soderstrom. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Soderstrom has arrived, and he has not done so quietly. What a game from him. I was really hoping for a better year in general, but you can show out like this. This makes me very excited to see what he can do next year. Turns out maybe that's time that he spent back down at AAA was helpful for him. Nearly 400 feet out to center field, and Silseth couldn't even last an inning for the Angels. Full count for Ramon Laureano. We're getting a lot of full counts here in the 8th. He will strike out, though, for the second out of the inning. 104, Lawrence Butler. Perfect. Right to first base. The best feeling in the world. Tyler Soderstrom there, of course, gave us a lead that was unlikely to be overcome by this Angels team, especially without, the best player playing on the day. That one would be a walk by Domingo Acevedo. I wanted to get one last look at him here this season, as he, for the 3rd straight year, has been really, really solid. Like, you typically don't get such steady, consistent play from your bullpen unless they're like really highly rated players, but Domingo Acevedo has been awesome. So I wanted to give one last chance to show some gameplay from him. Zach Jackson allows this absolute rock hit by Joe Adell. Turns out he's maybe raking a little bit in the game as well. So a leadoff double for the Angels. And Adam Engel will also get a hit off of him. Joe Adell's got some speed, and he will score here. Much like Acevedo, I wanted to give one last, gameplay shout out to Zach Jackson, and then he comes out and has maybe not his best inning, but it's now 1 out away from the victory and securing the 81 and 81 bag. We will do just that. 6-2 win. Tyler Soderstrom, easily the MVP of this game, to get us to the fact where we did not have a losing record this year. You love to see it. First time of the franchise here in year 3. Starting to see some of those, moves like the win now trades for the young players. Some of the free agency acquisitions coming into play to help us here. Our AA team would make the playoffs, and I wanted to do a little bit with that here. I turned on critical situations to see if we could find any critical situations, and we did just that here in the second game. It is 3-3. Alex Angeles at the plate. Let's go ahead and see if we can use his awesome batting skill set to take a hold of this second game. Daniel Tillo? I don't know. Depends on, I guess, where he's from, probably. Will be pitching for us. Alex Angeles. Why did I look at that first pitch? That was like home run city. That was 3-run, walk-off home run kind of thing. Ended up just swinging at that next one. Probably still mad at myself for taking that first pitch. And it turns out horribly for us. Now we are depending on Rene Hernandez. Luckily for us, Rene Hernandez is the kind of guy that you want to depend on. He will strike out the first pitch of the at-bat. Not strike out. He will swing and miss is what I was trying to say here. Swinging again at the high fastball. Some nice pitches here. Can we bring across the run? End this one without going to the extras, and Rene Hernandez gets this one to fall, and that will be a walk-off single. Rene Hernandez gives the Rockhounds the win. Totally sold hardcore there with Alex Angeles, so I'm glad that I was able to kind of save face with a hit from Rene Hernandez. I was so worried that I had kind of sold that game away, but turns out we didn't. We were able to win it in the bottom of the ninth with a walk-off single, and that'll give us a commanding 2-0 lead. Of course, this series best of 5. We only need one more win to secure the series. Player of the game ends up being Alex Angeles. That's really funny because I sold with him. Could have been even more player of the game had I not. But let's go ahead and simulate, see if we can secure the win. And we do. And I did not realize when I was doing this that the AA Championship's just one round. I thought like this would be the first round and maybe we'd get another one. So if I'd have known it was the elimination for the entire championship, I definitely would have opted in that game for sure. But let's go ahead and just take a look at the box score instead. Looks like our postseason MVP is going to be Rene Hernandez as he hit 2 home runs. This is a contact hitter out here hitting 2 home runs in the elimination game, in a game in which we won by 1. He had 3 of the 5 RBIs. So hats off to Rene Hernandez. You are our AA postseason MVP. And congratulations to the Rockhounds for winning the AA championship. Here's just a look again at where we sat. We ended up 4th in the division. We had a positive run differential of 21 on the year. So that's good. Even like the Rangers, who finished technically a couple games ahead of us, they had a negative run differential. In fact, in terms of run differential, we were the second best in the entire our division. We had the most runs in our entire division. We also just tied for allowing the most as well. And so maybe getting an upgrade at pitching could be something we absolutely focus on in the offseason. I'm kind of looking through trying to find out what my offseason priorities are right now, and seeing this, that we were so good offensively, but we allowed just a ton of runs. You know, best offense in our division in terms of scoring. We gotta shore up the pitching a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the players, kind of who led us in certain categories. Bobby Witt had the most at-bats for us, scored the most runs, was the only one to reach that 100 mark for us. Hits, Bobby Witt led us with Ian Happ in second. Like I said, Fernando Reyes reached 30, the only one to do it for us. Boyce McDermott and Bobby Witt were very close. Maybe with, you know, some crazy good end game, we could have got it for Bobby Witt, or if we would have got one with Boyce, of course. We could have had multiple guys with 30, but we did have a ton of players with 20. We had 6 players with 20 plus home runs this year. RBI, nobody reached 100, but we did have 4 players reach at least 80. Bobby Witt with 16 stolen bases, Boyce with 13, and Lawrence with 10 would be the 3 players to hit 10. Esteury Ruiz actually had the best batting average for us. It's unfortunate because this is definitely his last year with us. But we did get to see him hit a 3-run homer in the last episode. But of like kind of the full-time players, nobody hit over 270. So I think another offseason priority for me is going to be somebody that I am confident can maybe hit 300. That's something that I want to do, as we kind of had some all-around power in our lineups. Slugging percentages are kind of looking pretty good. One guy over 500, a bunch of guys in the 400s. OPS, we had really 2 full-time players reach 800, Boyce McDermott and Bobby Witt. So Boyce McDermott, awesome first year at the age of 18. If my expectations for him weren't through the roof because he's a generational player, he'd be in the running for Surprise Player of the Year, but he also already has 99 potential, so winning Surprise of the Year wouldn't do a thing for him. Bobby Witt would lead us in doubles. Ian Happ in second with Boyce in third. Boyce would lead us in triples, no surprise with that level of speed. Lawrence Butler and Bobby Witt would be the 3 players to reach at least 5. Gleyber Torres grounded into 5 more double plays than anyone else on the team, which is kind of weird. Bobby Witt was hit the most. Esteury Ruiz was the only guy with a 100% fielding percentage. And our least was actually Ramon Laureano, which is surprising to me. His fielding in general, like the fielding rating itself, isn't very good, so I guess it can't be too surprising. 3 players hit for WAR for us. Bobby Witt, Gleyber Torres. Turns out that was a really nice signing for us. And then Ian Happ, and then Boyce McDermott ends up with above 2. Nobody else had above 1. So Gleyber Torres had the best walk to strikeout ratio. Lawrence Butler had the worst. You notice how, except for like maybe triples, Lawrence Butler wasn't at the top of our board in anything. I think as much as like he just won Surprise of the Year, I think Lawrence Butler's got to be Disappointment of the Year. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these players' ratings have changed. Bobby Witt, everything going up. You love to see it. Gleyber Torres had a good year against lefties, maybe not so much against righties. Ian Happ, his contact versus lefties goes down. It's still in the 90s though. Everything else going up. We like to see that. He is going to be absolutely be an offseason priority for me, and that's assuming that he doesn't accept his player option. I really don't think he will though. Boyce McDermott got a lot better in terms of ratings for a hitter, and he absolutely deserved it. He had a great year hitting. +9 power versus lefties and +6 contact versus righties. Really awesome stuff. Everything across the board was improving by like at least 4, it seems like, so that's awesome. Shea, probably not a super long-term piece of our plans, but his ratings went up. Soderstrom, power versus lefties went down, but his contact versus lefties went up a lot, which is nice. I'd like him to be able to hit righties and lefties. I wish his hitting against righties had gone up more, but like I said, he didn't have a great year when he was at the MLB level, so I'm not surprised it didn't. -7 contact versus righties for Lawrence Butler. He is going to be our Disappointment of the Year. His potential is going to be going right back to where it started in this franchise, which is going to put a cap on his ceiling. I'm still hopeful that he could be a center fielder for us, even though by rule I had to pick a Disappointment of the Year and it just had to be him. I'm sad about that because that does make it harder for him. A bigger uphill. He probably has to win Surprise of the Year again at some point in order for him to be our long-term center fielder. But Ramon Laureano, +14 contact versus lefties, and then 6 and 5 for his 2 power. He was awesome. Somebody that I had kind of made up in my mind that this was his last year with the team going into the year. He's really making it hard for me to say that I don't want him back. All of our pitchers are on a cold streak to end the year. That's exactly what you love to see. That's probably why, we ended up missing the playoffs. You saw that we allowed so many runs. A lot of that was just probably at the end of the year when we were losing a lot. We were allowing a lot of runs. And I think the pitching is probably to blame for the fact that we didn't make the playoffs this year. And since the playoffs will be a goal next season, we got to improve the pitching, and I have plans to do so. Domingo Acevedo with a sub-1 whip. Like I said, this guy is just consistently really good in this franchise. We got him for one more year at $1.8 million, but I mean, his highest whip is 105. He played the least amount of innings this year compared to last, so he was our setup man. Maybe I switch his role so that he can get more innings, because if you're playing that well, I just want you in and pitching if you're going to be pitching at that level. Marquez was a total miss for us for sure. Maybe, there could be an argument made that he's actually the Disappointment of the Year over Lawrence Butler, if we're being honest. Luis Oviedo, for being a 65 overall, had a really solid year this year as well. Happy about that. Still probably, now that we can send him to the minor leagues, probably next year my plan will be to. Brett Martin was not as good this year as he was last. Earned himself a 2-year, $4.4 million contract from his performance last year. I'm probably still keeping him around at that $2.2 million just because we don't have a lot of lefty bullpen arms. But that's kind of where I stand with pitchers. So now that I'm thinking about it, I think German Marquez ending with over a 5 ERA could save Lawrence Butler. But man, hitting just over the Mendoza line this year, being one of the worst WARs, at least it was positive WAR, though for Butler still. Going into the episode, I had kind of made up my mind that it was going to be, but 5.2 ERA. Let's go ahead and focus on the positives for a little bit more, though. Let's talk about Trevor Rogers. For the first time in this franchise, he got himself under a 4 ERA. That's really awesome for him. Ken Waldichuk. I honestly think Ken Waldichuk is going to be our surprise player of the year. He was terrible in year one. Honestly, he was quite bad. Came in, pitched, started as a long reliever, ended up earning one of the 5 starting spots, and pitched well. Both when we were, controlling him and in simulation sub 4 ERA. So I'm going to give Ken Waldichuk Surprise of the Year. Mostly just because I felt like a lot of our offensive position players, like they performed how I was expecting them to. I don't know if anybody truly exceeded expectations. We also have to talk about the minor league players. Let's go ahead and do that now. Talk about who led us in certain categories. Luke Waddle. Could he be the minor league surprise of the year? I think it's very possible. I think he was really good both when we hopped into the games and in simulation. Only has that C potential, so winning surprise of the year could be a major boost to his long-term potential with the team. He's leading our team in a lot of categories here. Top 5 in on-base percentage as well. Slugging led by Dermis Garcia of our AAA team. OPS, Dermis Garcia and Connor Capel, but Luke Waddle in the top 5 once again. So I gotta say, from our AAA position players, Luke Waddle would definitely be the favorite to win the award so far. Still have to kind of check out our AA as well, though, as well as our pitchers here at the AAA level. But Luke Waddle, 4.1 WAR. It's gonna be hard for somebody else to win it over him. He got plus 12 contact versus lefties this year. 7 home runs. But that's not even really his game. He hit over 300. So I really think Luke Waddle, in terms of minor league surprise of the year, it's going to be a tough act for AA to beat. I forgot how to control things here for a second. So let's go to pitchers, though. Maybe a pitcher could win it here. In terms of innings pitched, we had 3 guys hit 172. Hogan Harris led us in strikeouts. ERA, the worst was Kyle Muller, which is really disappointing because in terms of overall, he's one of the highest overall players. We might just need to put a pin in Kyle Muller if we're being honest. He's still under contract for next year, so we'd have to either trade him or release him. Or maybe we just throw him into the fire next year because his options are also out, I believe. Carlos Liriano did well for us at AAA. Sam Moll had the highest whip on the team. Jack Weisenberger had the best. He actually pitched really well. I don't know. I'm not going to give surprise player of the year to a guy who pitched 30 innings, though. So, yeah. The surprise player of the year is definitely Luke Waddle for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at how some ratings changed for our minor leaguers. Eduardo Silva, power versus righties, has not developed in 2 years. I'm pretty sure he started in the 70s, and it's still there. So that's kind of disappointing from Eduardo Silva, if I'm being honest. Robert Poisson, he got 11 contact versus lefties. That's awesome. Zach Geloff, I gave him disappointment of the year. Basically, that's why his potential is down to C. It's kind of like a whole series long. I think in the 3 series, he was the guy that I was kind of depending on him on being one of the few prospects on the team that would eventually be part of our MLB organization. And he's just been terrible. He's been terrible. So I already gave him disappointment of the year. There is no debate there. All we're debating here is who's going to win surprise of the year. Devin Foyle, I also think, has a decent case. He actually was pretty good this year, but it's just not quite as firm as Waddle. He also ended the year on a cold streak, which kind of probably hurt his chances. Let's go ahead and switch gears now to the AA team. Rene Hernandez won our postseason MVP. Alex Angeles out here 3rd on the team in hits. Rene Hernandez led us in home runs. This is an intriguing case for him. He's not a power hitter. And he led the team in home runs by 5 whole home runs. Maybe he should win it over Luke Waddle. I think in terms of, surprise being related to expectation, Rene Hernandez was supposed to be a really good hitter, but he showed a surprising amount of power this year. Alex Angeles leading us in stolen bases with 38 speed on the AA side is really funny. Did not develop any power versus lefties, which is unfortunate. Certainly want him to kind of develop as an all-around offensive monster, as I view him as probably the future of our DH position. He did lead the team in on-base percentage, drew a lot of walks. Slugging also led as well for an 840 OPS. Walked the second most behind Rene Hernandez. Rene Hernandez also struck out the most as well, which definitely is not a point in his favor by any means. Let's go ahead and switch over to WAR, where Rene Hernandez tied Brett Harris for the lead there, with Alex Angeles in third place. So I think it's pretty close actually between Rene Hernandez and Luke Waddle, but Luke Waddle had a full one additional WAR at 4.1. So congrats to Luke Waddle. He's officially our surprise player of the year. He will be getting +3 potential. For those who aren't familiar with my surprise and disappointment of the year, others, YouTubers I've seen do something similar where they will edit some ratings and some potential. I tend to just like to edit the potential, but I think the game itself takes care of editing ratings quite well. Let's go ahead and turn to our AA pitching for a second here. Wow, Kenny Martin at 57 overall was spectacular this year. Joey Estes was really awesome as well. Sub-1 ERA with sub-1 whip. These three guys in the bullpen did some absolute work for us, if we're being honest here. I didn't even know Joey Estes was on the team, so I just had to check him out. But Gilberto Vasquez, sub-1 whip as well. Omar Cannon, 3.26 ERA, 1.19 whip. Very strong season from him. He was our ace at the AA level. Gilberto Vasquez closed for us. His ratings all went up quite nicely, +5 hits per 9, +6 walks per 9. I like to see that a lot. Santiago Rodriguez, as I thought he might, he did struggle quite a bit, but +5 walks per 9 is huge, +7 strikeouts per 9. I like that a lot. So even though the year wasn't the best, you still like to see improvements for him. So I think pitching all around was pretty good. I just don't think anybody has quite the same case as Luke Waddle for winning minor league surprise of the year. So there we have it here, taking some additional look, just trying to see if there are any more pitchers that I want to preview how their ratings change. Jorge Juan getting a 4.4 WAR is pretty interesting. He had a very high strikeout. I know getting a lot of strikeouts helps pitchers with WAR a lot. So let's go ahead and take a look at switching back to our major league team now, where we ranked in certain stats. We ended up being 20th in the league in batting average this year. I think the fact that we had nobody over the 270s really hurt that. And like I said, that is something that I will be looking at pretty heavily in the offseason. Somebody that I think is capable of doing that. In terms of runs, we ended up being top 10 in the league. So you like that. Bobby Witt was one of the highest numbers I saw all around the league. I saw only a couple of guys here at the top above him. So Bobby Witt really helping us there. That speed, once you get him on the base paths, it's a difference maker. We saw a couple of really nice plays where he ended up grabbing an extra bag where I didn't think he could. Hits, 19th. Again, that kind of goes along with batting average. Just needs somebody with better contact on the team. Doubles, 13th, tied with the Blue Jays here, led by our boy Bobby Witt. And then triples, we ended up being top 10, tied for 8th. Boyce McDermott leading us there. Home runs, 4th in the entire league. So that kind of goes along with what I'm saying. I think our power is great. We need some more contact, though. And we have a couple of positions that we're going to need to fill. I'm not saying that I'm not going to look for power. If I can get power and contact, I'll obviously go for that, because I don't mind being a team that's known for having really good power. RBIs, 9th in the league. We ended up scoring, I guess, the 9th most would be what I would think from that. Stolen bases, we are not very good. One of our fastest players has a terrible steal rating, so that's really unfortunate. Caught stealing. We didn't get caught stealing a lot, though, so it looks like we just didn't try to steal nearly as much as other teams. We were low in successful steals, but also ranked really well in getting caught. We just weren't really trying all that hard, I guess. Stolen base percentage is right in the middle of the league, though. Only had 2 guys caught stealing all year. That's interesting. Base on balls, we drew the 19th most walks in the league. Would like to get that number up. That kind of goes along with getting a good contact hitter. Strikeouts, We struck out a lot this year. Gleyber Torres, Bobby Witt, Boyce McDermott. Don't love that, but I guess that kind of comes with being a good power team probably. Slugging percentage, we're top 10. On base percentage, we're not going to be very good. 22nd. Yeah, nobody even in the 340s here. That's got to change for sure. Discipline, contact. That's what I'm looking for this offseason. Grounded into double plays. We grounded into the least all season long. So, by like 10. So, that's nice to see that we're really good at avoiding that. Assists, third fewest in the league. I don't even know. Like assists just feels like they come from opportunity, right? 29th putouts. Yeah, maybe we just didn't have a lot of opportunities. We were pretty good at avoiding errors, so that's not contributing to our low assists and putouts. Fielding percentages, top 10. I don't need to be top of the league at this. If we can be around this 10th range, I'm super chill. Like, that's all I'm looking for, is to not be terrible at fielding. I don't need to be the best fielding team in the league. ERA, not great. So I guess maybe our assists and putouts are so low because when we were allowing runs, they were like home runs. I don't know, for being honest here. Complete games, we only had one all year. Looks like a ton of teams did. That was a Trevor Rogers game. Shutouts, tied for 11th with a bunch of teams. And of course, it's only showing one stat for Trevor Rogers because he's the only one that did it by himself. Saves, 52. Zach Jackson just under that 40 mark. Maybe we shouldn't have scored those runs late so we could have had a save opportunity against the Angels to get to that 40 mark. But I'd rather have Tyler Soderstrom hit a 3-run home run, if I'm being honest. Blown saves, 20. 5 of them by Zach Jackson. That's borderline top 10 in the league. I'm fine with that. Hits allowed. Just allowed more hits than I would like. This is just going to go into the fact that we need, now that we're in kind of the pitching, we're going to need to improve pitching. So contact and pitching, I think, are things that we're going to want to increase more than anything. If I want to be a playoff team next year, which, like I said, I do. Home runs allowed, we were actually on 11th place. So, I guess we just need to not allow as much hits or contact. We were 22nd in walks allowed too. Okay, so that would make sense then why we're so bad. If we're allowing... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Third in strikeouts, though. Our pitchers, might not have been the best, but they were good at one thing. They were good at striking out, so I'd like to see that. Win percentage, we were 81 and 81, so we're going to be right there at 500, of course. And that will do it. Simming through the postseasons, the Twins would end up beating the Dodgers. They signed Juan Soto in the offseason. And so that's really good for them. Let's go ahead and just take a look at these Twins. See what we have to compete against to be a World Series kind of team. They've got a few guys in the 90s. Carlos Correa at shortstop. Of course, like I said, they signed Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in the entire league. Byron Buxton has power for days. Got a couple of pitchers there. So they don't have the best pitching either. They probably just won as being a really, really good offensive team is what it kind of looks like to me. And as it's looking right now, it looks like that might be the more realistic option for us unless we can do some really good improvements with the pitching. And then the last thing I want to do in this episode, we've been going through quite a lot, but that's kind of the deal with, the last episode of a season. Let's go ahead and take a look at the awards. As we saw, Boyce McDermott ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Jordan Alvarez would be the American League MVP. Talked about him last episode so that he was in the race. He may very well win it. Sucks that he's going down in overall in a season which he literally won MVP. I might need to do something about that. I might actually go ahead and increase some of those ratings for him ahead of next year. You shouldn't win MVP and go down in rating. That just makes no sense to me at all. Shane Baz, pretty surprising here. 82 overall, wins Cy Young Award, under a 3 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 18 and 7. Shohei Ohtani, thank goodness he's out of our division, but goodness, the top 3 Cy Young candidates all being on the Dodgers, and the Twins still won. Juan Soto wins the batting title for the American League. No surprise there. He's incredible. Hit over 30 runs. Had batted in over 100. American League reliever goes to Jason Adam of the Rays. He had, really good year. Under a 1 ERA. Goodness. Boyce McDermott looks like pretty handily won Rookie of the Year. I saw Frank Cannon was in the running for this. I forgot to actually check him out like in-game, but I did look at him off-camera, and he's had a pretty good year. His average was actually at a really similar spot to Boyce McDermott. He just had about 150 less at-bats, and he did not hit for power very well at all. His power ratings actually went down this year. And of course, if you don't know who I'm talking about with Frank Cannon, he was the other generational prospect the same year as Boyce McDermott in last year's draft class. Went to the Giants. But anyway, let's continue on through these awards. Golden Glove pitcher Herman Marquez ends up being second place for that award. So nice to see that. I suppose he at least did something right. And maybe the fact that he was second place in Golden Glove gives it back to Lawrence Butler for winning Disappointment of the Year. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's pretty close. I think it would be more convenient to give it to Herman Marquez, but I honestly think Lawrence Butler deserves it more. Third base, second place for Ian Happ for Gold Glove. Like to see that. Nobody from the team will make it for the outfield. Silver Slugger DH, Franmil Reyes is in third place. And Silver Slugger, man. Shohei Ohtani won Silver Slugger DH and Cy Young and MVP. This dude's like insane. Ian Happ, so he was second place in both Golden Glove and Silver Slugger for third base. Yeah, I think we want him back. Bobby Witt wins second place for Silver Slugger, so we were just, so close to winning so many awards this year. We didn't make the playoffs, so how many awards did we really deserve? We had 2 Minnesota Twins win Silver Slugger for the outfield. No surprise there. But that's all I have for this episode. I will be back soon with another off-season coming up, and I will see you then.